We're live. We're live. That was it.
I'm ready.
Hello, everybody. I am Coco Huff for CocoHuff.com, CoCoHough, where we talk about everything in and about the kitchen. And I'm so happy today to be here with my dad. This is my dad, Sam Pietrandrea.
Hello.
What should we call you? Dr. P?
No,
Dr.
Sam.
Sam, regular Sam. And my dad is a terrific cook. We've talked about him a couple times before on the show. And today he's here. We're spilling the family secrets. This is hopefully the first of many. And we're making gnocchi. We're making homemade gnocchi. David Pietrandrea, my brother, is here on the live stream. So if you're here watching, say hello. We would love to. Hi, Teresa. Teresa is one of our regular people. You can say hi. You can
Hi,
right
Teresa.
there.
Hi, Dave.
And whoever's here, say hello. Let us know your questions. We're here to answer any questions. It could be about what we're making, about other Italian food, about family traditions, anything that comes up. So we're here. Chat with us. Hello, everyone. Hi, Jen Johan. Do you remember Jen Johan?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Of course. She says hello. This is so
Hello.
wonderful. Hi, Dr. P. David P. says this is so sweet. It is. It's fun. So we've been preparing. We have all of our ingredients here. There are a few time jumps. So there's a little bit of switching out that we'll do. So it's not something you would have to do all at once, but there's some cooling involved. So if you were making this along, there'll be some waiting in between, or it's another day, you would just start a little earlier. You'll get it as we go. And yeah, that's it. So we're going to start. So hi, Charlotte. Hello. She said this is awesome. My friend Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte. So ask us any questions as we go. Like I said, type them in and we'd be happy to answer. So gnocchi. Gnocchi is an Italian pasta that has a potato and flour base. This is our traditional recipe. The most basic recipe is the potato, flour, eggs, right? Salt. And our family adds a little bit extra flavor. So we'll talk about that. And then the main goal of everything we're doing is to get the lightest possible gnocchi. So if you've ever had gnocchi that are a little bit kind of firm or solid, we say they're like a lead balloon in your stomach.
Flour is the enemy of making gnocchi.
Okay.
If you use too much, they're like lead weights.
Like lead weights. So we're going to show you how to not have to use too much and what we do. So Diana McCord says hello. Tell your dad how much I enjoyed being his daughter's orchestra partner at GW. Diana, we were in the orchestra. Diana was first violin. I don't know what I was, second violin. I don't know if you still play. I sometimes do, not very often. I think you do. Yes, you definitely do, which is great for you. All right, let's get started. So go ahead. You want to start? Yeah.
Yeah, what we're making right now is basically a recipe for an appetizer for 4, a meal for 3 or 4, and if you want to make more, it's basically a potato per person, and then you have to adjust the flour up from the ingredients that Nicole gave you, and you don't want to overdo the flour because again that's a killer. They become like lead weights. So these are the potatoes. They're Idaho Russets. These are the best. If you use anything that has too much starch in it, like what were we saying?
Like a Yukon.
Yeah, like a Yukon Gold. They won't come out well at all. So basically, we're starting with these 3 and the ingredients we're going to show you.
Then you wanted them to be like, I had these little mini potatoes, and it was like not just by weight, but you want this sort of ratio of what the peel to the potato is going to be. So we went and got like hand-sized potatoes.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Right,
so we're going to start by steaming them, right?
Right. The first thing you do. The other problem is you don't want to get too much water into it. So I don't like to boil them, which some people do. It's fine. And I don't like to cook them in the oven because that really dries them out. So I find that if you steam them, depending on the size, these take about 40 minutes. So I do them for 30 minutes. Check them with a fork, and the fork should easily penetrate about halfway through with no trouble. And then
okay, so that takes a while, and it gives like the right amount of moisture. Is that why?
Right.
Yeah.
It keeps them from not being too moist, and not drying out in the oven.
So let me just show what's in here, because I just did this without talking about it. This is my steamer insert, which we've used before for potatoes, that just opens to the size of your pan. And I had about 2 or 3 inches, about 3 inches of water in there. So that's coming up to a boil, but we have some already done. So,
So we'll take those.
yeah, so the steamer insert, there's a link to it already in this video. And then, oh, we don't need this right now, right?
Just gonna
You know, any steamer, you have a different kind of steamer.
yeah, I
right?
have one like with the pasta pot that has an
Oh,
insert
of
on
course,
top.
right, that you pull out like this.
Right.
So whatever that is. So, but steaming is the key to not have it be too dry or too wet from
Right.
boiling. All right, and then we have these that have already been steamed. And do you want to show how the fork kind of goes into them?
Yeah, before there was
Fork is here, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can take this, and the fork should just generally go about halfway without
Push it down a little.
any
bit.
trouble.
Put it down here so you can.
Is
There
it
we go.
blocking?
No.
So this way you know that when you put it through the ricer, there's still a little bit of resistance. It's not all, it's not a mashed potato. It's not meant to be. So that's the first step.
I think that's the key, because we've made mashed potatoes 2 or 3 times on this live stream, and the mashed potato, you can't really overcook it. The softer the
Right.
better, but in this case you don't want
Yeah,
it to
you want
be
to go
total
slightly the other way.
mush. You want it to still have some texture.
You want to get it.
Okay, so we're gonna do a joint. We're gonna both peel these.
Right. I like to use a knife. I take a little bit off so you get a better pick up on the end, and then
Okay.
it'll come right off.
I'm gonna try a peeler, but is that gonna work? Yeah, well, it did, but it kind of all bunched up.
bunches
so maybe
up.
that's not the best. So I think I've mentioned this before on here. Do you remember when I tried to make gnocchi to surprise you?
Yes, I
And I
do.
think I ruined your Cuisinart.
I don't know if it was ruined.
I ruined a spatula trying to get it out of the Cuisinart. So I tried to make gnocchi without knowing all these secrets. And I thought, oh, I'll surprise them. I boiled the potatoes and put them in the Cuisinart, which is not what you do unless your goal is to make glue, which is what I did. And then I couldn't.
But
and then,
glue can be good. I mean,
glue, if you want glue, that's how you make it. And then I think before you even came home, I was like, oh, this isn't right. And I was trying to get it. Am I doing a good job? Okay.
when there's no more
Out.
skin on it. If you see skin, the
There's
answer is
skin, then
no.
no. Okay. I'm just talking too much. I tried to get it out of the Cuisinart before you got home, and you couldn't even move it, so I sliced right through the spatula. It was an absolute mess. Somewhere there's a photograph. This is long before digital cameras, but somewhere there's a photograph of that.
I noticed something,
Cuisinart.
by the way, because we let these cool a little bit
Oh
to
yeah.
show you what you do. But when they're hot, they really peel. This
Comes
comes
off
off
more
in
easily.
the whole skin.
So that's the other thing. Anytime you're ricing potatoes, they have to be hot, or they firm up too much, and then you really can't even get them through the ricer.
All right, so this is the first step. We've got this
All right, we've got peels.
almost there.
I didn't break my compost bowl over here. So live and learn. But if you want to make glue, that's a good way to do
Glue, it's
Boil
perfect glue.
it. Yeah.
It's Italian glue.
Do you like my dad's Italian apron too?
I have some
Hi,
other ones.
Laura. Laura Johnson is here. Barbara's
Hello,
here.
Laura. Hello,
Laura is
Barbara.
Dennis's wife. You know Dennis
Oh
Johnson.
yeah. Tell Dennis I said
Dennis,
hi.
hello. And Barbara, my friend from Bennington. When I went to
yes,
Bennington.
yes, yes.
We've got a crew, quite a crew.
Okay, I think
Okay,
we're good enough.
we're good. So now we're going to rice the
One more.
potatoes.
Okay, that's done.
Okay.
Just put this.
And
on
we
there.
want that actual texture that's like rice, right?
Yeah, now
That's
these
the
are
key.
these are moderately good-sized potatoes. So what I do is I cut them into thirds
Okay.
because it can be. Oh yeah, get that sheet.
And we're going to rice them. Let's talk about a little bit what's coming up. We're going to rice the potatoes onto this tray with some parchment and spread them out. And why are we doing that?
Okay.
So why are
And
we?
then, again, once we get them on there, you'll see they'll form a mound, and they're still quite wet. So we're going to spread them out, and then 2 things will happen. They have to cool off, and moisture will, whatever moisture's in there, will start to go into the air. By cooling them off, they don't accept the flour. So if you did them when they were hot like this, believe me, they would be so heavy they would be inedible because it would keep taking more and more flour to cook them.
Okay.
So these are warm now. We're going to show you some in a second, but you would take this.
I'll do mine. So we have two different ricer. Let's hold them up. Yours is
Mine's from the Civil War.
Yours, the Civil War ricer.
And you have your
slightly newer ricer, but yours is much bigger, first of all, and it looks, I don't know, is it easier?
Oh, I don't know. You just have to do
Okay,
it.
so we're gonna rice. So yeah, like, hello Helene. Helene says hello from Kentucky.
From Kentucky,
Kentucky. I think you were, well, we've had some from Seattle. You're one of our more distant viewers. Let's bring this a little closer.
Yeah, a little bit closer.
We're reaching, let's put it on.
You have bad backs.
Let's do it. Yeah, right. Let's do this.
That's a
And
good
then
idea.
put it here. So they can see it, otherwise they can't see it. Okay, so the main point here is that we want this texture of the riced potato so that there's surface area for the moisture to evaporate. That's the key, right? Okay, so
Plus
that's
they're
what,
pretty to look at.
and it's pretty, and it's fun. So that's the goal right now. That's why we're doing it this way, and that's why we're going to let this cool. We wouldn't continue with something hot.
Hold on.
Is there more appeal?
A little bit. This must be the one you did.
I am failing.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You can still pull that grade up.
There's time. Okay. So, you know, it's 3 potatoes. It's not much. Doesn't take too long to rice them.
Yeah, it makes a lot of food though. I mean, this makes a lot of gnocchi.
Yeah.
And what I generally do is you go in and pull this down in, and then push it through one more time, and then take it off with your hand. Just you're done.
Okay.
And these go
All right,
sick.
and then we spread it. How do you spread it out with your hands?
Yeah. So you do it like this. You just take it.
Yours is heavy too.
Well, they made them very well back in the Civil War days.
Yeah.
Now this is still pretty hot, and you can feel the steam coming off of it. And this, you wouldn't want to work with this. It's just not possible. You won't get a good one. So we're going to move this.
Move that and let it cool.
What you would do now at this point is let this sit on the counter. I put mine on a marble counter at home and clean it, and that's how they work on. And the marble pulls the heat out of it, and it cools off right away. But it has to be cool to your hand when you're going to use it.
Okay.
So we'll move this one.
So that's another thing. My dad said at home he would just work directly on the countertop, which helps with temperature and gives you more space. But we were afraid with the white countertop you wouldn't be able to see it, so we're working with everything more. Jim White says hello.
Oh, Jim
Our
White.
cousin Jim White is
Hi,
here.
Jimmy.
He says I want to be in the video audience. Well, I didn't even mention this is something I've wanted to do since.
Tell the family.
Yes, I did.
That's good. Hello, Jimmy. How are you?
Since the beginning, I've been like, I can't wait to
I
have.
have a dog in front of me.
The
so if
dog
you
is
want
standing
me-
right here.
I'm trying to get around.
You know, guest cooks, guests to stand and watch. Like that's what I've been wanting to do. So we're finally vaccinated. I'm very grateful for that, and now we can do it. So and Adrienne says hello too.
Hi, Adrienne. How are you?
She says this is fabulous.
Now this is
Which it
actually
is.
cold.
Right.
It's still damp, but it's cold.
Yeah. So this is our. We just watched while we were talking. My dad switched these out. So
Switch
this
these out.
has been. Let's get a close up. It's been sitting. It has like a grainy
Yeah,
texture
very
to
grainy.
it,
It's
right?
almost
It's
like
not
rice.
wet at all.
But
Yeah.
softer than rice, yeah.
Okay.
We
So
gotta-
that's the key to getting it light.
The beginning.
Right. So now at home you would dump this onto the counter to start mixing like
yeah,
pasta.
but I don't want to do it here because it gets a little messy. Just put it in a
Okay, so
bowl.
we're
It's
gonna put it
easier.
in a bowl.
So let's get it.
And we're doing, and maybe you've seen before when you make pasta,
See how good it will like.
you make that well in the middle, right? Like,
Yeah.
oops, you got most of it. Okay, good. So Rosie says hello too.
Hi,
cousin
Rosie.
Rosie. How
How
are
are
you?
you?
Great to see you.
Making our family recipe here.
Yeah. You can leave over there in the middle of that light there.
Okay. Now you can see that this is cooled off. I can't see cool, but it is cool and it's fluffy.
Yeah.
So now you have the other components of the flour. Basically flour, salt, and an egg. Maybe an egg white in addition, or maybe 2 eggs. It depends on how the dough looks.
We're going to talk about how to know by
Right.
sight, by feel, like what's going to be light and fluffy and when it needs more moisture or when it needs more flour. There's a balance. So,
or since I have some cousins on board here,
oh yeah, if you have,
my grandparent Nicola would make them like this, and they would add, in addition to that, because there's sort of, they're not north, but they're central Italy and slightly towards the north, they would add the nutmeg and a little bit of cheese.
So the dairy is a more northern
More
Italian.
northern experience.
Yeah, nice and delicious too.
Okay, so let's, you want to get
Stacy also says this is fabulous. Stacy's been here almost every single week. How are you? Good to
Great.
see you.
So let's
So what's first?
a couple of the flour.
Flour? Okay.
Put that in.
So this
Oh,
is
no,
two.
no, mix the
Oh no.
salt in here first.
Okay, so mix the salt. Let me
Yeah.
reach across it. How much?
2 teaspoons of white salt
Okay, into the flour.
into the flour.
And this is the full 2 cups. Do you want to show you?
Well, we're
do
going
it
to start
in
with
there?
that. It might need more, that might be enough, we'll see.
Okay, 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons.
Okay, then grate the, well, half a
Nutmeg?
cup of that cheese.
Okay. So this is like 3/4 of a cup.
Yeah,
Do you like
3/4.
the whole thing? Okay.
That's fine.
3/4 of a cup of
And then grate the
grated
nutmeg.
Parmesan. Okay, so we're doing fresh nutmeg, so it has even more flavor than ground nutmeg, but you could use ground nutmeg too, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this
But I
is
think this
the,
tastes better because when you ground the actual nut, it gives it a whole different fragrance.
yeah, you can't smell it until you start. Do I have to measure it or just?
Well, I can see when you
can
get
see,
to the
okay.
point.
So I'm
And
grating the whole nutmeg.
The other ingredient is
Oh, it
white
smells
pepper,
good.
not black pepper. Because you don't want to eat these with a bunch of black speckles all through them.
Yeah,
And the white pepper has a different fragrance. So
we've
it's-
talked about that, but I don't normally use it, but like we've made bechamel,
Oh, I
we use
know
things,
it
and
is.
that should
It's
have white
wonderful,
pepper
yeah.
technically, so you don't see all those specks.
keep going. Let me
Keep
see the
going.
nut.
Okay, so that's already a half of a nutmeg.
That's probably maybe a little bit
A little
more.
bit more? Okay, because we're making a
I'm
lot, right?
gonna see it, yeah.
Okay. And the bechamel also has a nutmeg and cheese, and it's a similar flavor profile.
Okay.
Okay, that was a half of this nutmeg. What are they? Pods, seeds, nuts?
It's a nut.
Okay.
And
Learning
now
so
the
much.
white pepper, a teaspoon of
I
white
know.
pepper.
Okay. I only had ground white pepper, and I looked for like a little grinder with, but you have whole white pepper
Yeah, which I
at home?
got.
Okay,
That's fine.
so that's a teaspoon of
You
white
have
pepper.
to mix that really well. I do it with my hands.
Pamela Pietrandrea says hello. Hi Pam, how are you? I'm glad you're
Hi,
here.
Pam, how are you?
She sent a
Any
heart. She
news
sent us
from
a
where
heart.
you are? See if she says any news.
And my friend Vadim from Seattle, my friend Anna's husband, says hello. How are you, Vadim? Hi, Ray. He says, hi, Sam and Nicole from Colorado, from Ray and Linda and
If I
Kristen.
would have known this, I wouldn't have shown.
I know, I didn't tell him how many people I told.
Oh, man.
I put it out there on Facebook.
God.
How are you all? Hi, Ray. Hi,
Hi,
Ellen.
Ray.
Hi, Mia.
Ellen. Mia's on.
Mia's on.
Hi, Mia.
Mia says a big chef's hug. Oh, oops, it scrolled away. A big chef's kiss to your dad and a hug. Oh, Charlotte says a nutmeg is a seed. And
There
then
you
she
go.
loves it too. Thank you, Charlotte. I
Thank you.
wasn't sure. It's funny, when we go out abroad and we say, like, my daughter's allergic to nuts, they always come back to the table and say, what about nutmeg? And we're like, no, nutmeg is fine. But they always ask. I think they ask here too.
Put
Okay, so
about
that's all
3/4
mixed
of that
together.
in there.
This was 2 cups of flour. I'll put all the ingredients on the post, and we're putting, what, 3/4 of
About
this in
3/4
right
to
now?
start here, and then give me an egg. I'll crack an egg into it.
So we want to leave a little bit more to gauge.
Oh, we might need that or even more, I'll see.
Okay, and then we have some extra flour for the board and for
Yeah, this.
to coat them later so they don't stick together as well. There goes 1 egg.
One, put yes.
I have my compost over here. Pam says, I love seeing you both. This is really fun. It was a nice group of people here. Thank you all
Yes,
for
Pam,
being here.
how's your daughter doing, Pam? See what she says.
Let's see, yep. Perfect.
Good.
All right, so let's get a close-up of your hands. Like, it's coming together,
It's-
but it's not
It's still
right?
too loose. I'll still need an egg.
Okay.
So let me have the egg.
All right, so, and then would you add another whole egg, or would you?
I think this might require. This
Yeah.
is the rest. Just
Okay,
drop
so
it.
you can, let's try to show what the texture
Yeah,
is
right now it's coming together. It's starting,
Okay.
but we're not
So
there.
sort of like, is it like a pie crust a little bit? Like you want it to come
Well, it's
together,
a
but
pie
not too
crust.
much?
When you squeeze it, it'll break
Yeah.
apart easily. like that. But this, once you get it to that level, you have to pour it off as a chunk.
So you want it to hold together even a little bit.
A little bit
more.
better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another egg. So flour, like Charlotte's a baker. She knows, you know. Tell me if you would agree. You know, it depends on the humidity in the air. It depends on the size of the eggs. You know, so you need to do a lot by feel. Yeah.
And there's gluten in this, as she knows. If you overwork it, you make it too tough too.
That's true. That's another key to keeping it light, right? If you go too much, everything.
Okay, now in a second we're going to need to take it out and put a little bit more.
Okay.
It's getting there.
It smells good.
Yeah, we have to.
Looks nice. All right, so now it's going on the board. I don't think we need the knife.
Now we can get rid of this. Now I can take this bowl.
Okay.
Let me see. It's a little bit too dry. We can just
Still too dry?
A little bit, yeah. Just sprinkle a little more flour, just a drop.
Oh, more flour? Yeah. Okay. This is the flour that's mixed, right? Yeah, okay. So we have the flavored flour and then we have like board flour.
That's good.
Okay. But we can keep using the flavored flour for the board too, right?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
It's getting there very quick. We just have to work with it.
Charlotte says for baking, no 2 days are ever alike when it comes to flour. That's true, right? You don't have to know how to adjust. And that's what we talk about a lot on the live stream. Like, you know, if something is different than you expect, what color, what level of browning do we want on something, what level of sauce, you know, how to adjust as you go so you're not so tied to a recipe, right?
Yeah, a little bit more flour.
And Pam says her daughter is doing great and getting used to being a mom, and I will send you a picture to your email. That's wonderful.
Wonderful.
That's terrific.
Wonderful.
That's great. Congratulations.
Excellent. Okay, let me just concentrate on this for a second.
Yeah. So are you kneading it? You're kneading it?
Yeah.
But like gently?
Gently.
Okay, not as vigorous as bread or something, right?
No.
No.
I want to just get it a little bit drier before we start molding and cutting it.
Zoom in on your hands a little bit here so we can see what you're doing.
It's almost there.
So I see it's like a soft
Yeah, it's
dough.
a soft dough. Almost there. It's just a damp wedge.
So can I feel it?
Sure. See, it won't be tacky.
Okay,
But
so
it
right
won't
now
be
it's like a
dry
little
either.
bit sticky still?
Yeah, it's just, we're almost there.
Like my fingerprint is making a print, but it has a tiny bit of stickiness to it. So you're like putting flour on the outside?
Yeah, because I'm going to work it inside.
Okay.
As I said, a little bit more, and I think I'll be ready to cut. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't go much more than this. Let me just. Now what you can do is you can roll it into a log.
Okay. Kelly Brandt says hello. You've met the Brandts
Sure.
around the corner, yeah. Hi Kelly, how are you? Thank you for being here.
Okay.
So anyone who's joined us in the middle, actually, this is my dad, Sam Pietrandrea, who is a fantastic cook.
Welcome aboard.
And we are making our family gnocchi recipe.
You see the edges of gnocchi, right?
Yeah. Okay. So this is the key. Can we hold this sort of down low?
That's almost a bread
Just
look.
it this way. So if you can see this on the camera, it's not solid on the inside, right? It has like a dough, like a bread dough.
Like air holes,
Or
yeah.
cooked bread, like a Wonder Bread.
Yeah, like Wonder Bread.
Okay, so it has these air holes and texture still inside, which means it hasn't been overworked, it's not solid, and that's what you want for the light end result, right? Okay, so that's what you're going for, is when you, not to recap everything, but like, so you were rolling this, you were adding flour and adjusting it, so it's just this side of sticky, it's no
Once you
longer
do
sticky.
that, once you're beyond
Look at
that,
this.
you can put all the flour you want on because you're not working it inside at this point.
Oh, okay.
Like when you store them on a tray, they have to be stored on top of a, not a soap pad, but just like the
Parchment?
parchment.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not touching, and you can flour them heavily,
Okay, so
And
the
then just let 'em
outside
sit.
can be covered in
Yeah.
flour,
all you want.
but you're not working it into the middle
No,
anymore.
and
'cause
this
now
is the
it's light.
process now.
Okay, so wait, let's move some things out of the way so we can see what's going on. So now you're rolling a smaller log.
Yeah, I want to have at home, I roll like this, but I'm going to make them a little smaller.
Okay, so if you were doing this...
Here, you can roll this one.
Okay.
You make that one a little longer.
So if you were doing this on the counter at home, you would have all this
Oh,
space?
the roll would be about this long, because
okay.
you can get done quickly that way.
Okay. So
Now
we're
you
doing
roll
it
them
on
down
this
to
small
about
cutting board.
between a half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, like this. And then you take, just move yours for a second. Give me that bench knife. Is it there? Do you see it?
Okay, wait, let me get the camera on you. All right, so this is like a 3/4 inch gently, right? So you're not pushing it down to deflate.
Right, and then you're just going to go along and do this.
Okay. So you're cutting it with the bench scraper. You could cut it with a knife, right?
Yeah.
And how long are they? Like an inch?
I don't like to go more than that. That's too big.
Okay, so you want them to be
Like
not
that.
too heavy
And
in the bite.
that's your basic
Great.
gnocchi.
They look terrific.
Not
All right.
gnocchi.
Not
gnocchi.
gnocchi.
Now, two things here. Some people think that putting ridges on them doesn't matter. I think it does. I think it holds the sauce a little better.
Right.
And you have two options when it comes to that. So let me just.
Okay, so wait, let me just take a second to get our water boiling for when we...
Okay.
Oops, our potatoes are in that one. Where's the one I played? Oh yeah. I'm gonna heat some water. We're going to cook these up, right?
Yeah.
So we need some hot water going. And then let's talk about the ridges.
So I wish I could read that. I can't read to ask you questions and to read that. My vision's not that good. Okay.
Okay, wait, that's for the water. I could probably do better, but I'll put more in a second.
Yeah.
And we need the tray to put them on. Okay.
Yeah.
I have another tray with parchment. So we like to talk a lot about things you can do ahead of time for guests. So for that one's plain, yeah. So once you've rolled your gnocchi and put the ridges on it like we're about to do, you can keep them on this tray. It's actually even better to let them sit on the tray for a while, right? That they could come together a little bit more.
That's the only thing I'm not doing here tonight because I don't
Right,
have the time.
we didn't do a whole batch ahead.
I usually put them on the tray, covered in flour, not touching.
Yeah.
Then I cook what I want that night. Then the rest you put in the freezer. The next day you can pull them off of this,
Right.
put them in a freezer bag. They stay for weeks, months.
Yeah, so you can make a lot of these ahead of time and have them frozen. So if you're going to freeze them, similar to freezing fruit or anything, you have them so they're not touching into the freezer, and then once they're frozen, you can put them all together, but they won't stick that way. So freeze them not touching, and with the flour so they don't stick to anything.
Do you have the gnocchi board?
Yes. Okay. So when you do you use this normally?
I use a fork.
Okay.
But some people use that.
The idea is to get ridges on it so that there's somewhere for the sauce to hold
And
on.
let me just show you. What you do is you take this and you start about halfway up. And you just take your finger very gently and just roll it down and roll it off.
Oh, nice.
And you just get another one. You just roll it down, roll it
So
off.
you're making like, it's no longer a pillow shape. It has like an indent on the
It has a little
inside.
indent on the back.
Okay. And it has ridges on the, can I hold one up a little?
Yeah.
It has, I don't know how, yeah, you can see it on the camera, right? There's ridges on this side and an indent on this side. So there are two places for sauce to accumulate, and they're not just a solid pillow-shaped mass, right? That's a little bit more
Try the gnocchi
lighter.
board out and use
So
it.
this, yeah, I guess you don't need a special tool. You can just use a fork, but this is
Well,
a
this is all
gnocchi.
my grandmother ever used was a fork.
Yeah,
And they made dozens and dozens of
right. This, I think it's called a gnocchi striper, a striper.
gnocchi board.
Board. And some of them I noticed come with a dowel that maybe you push into it and make it more.
Well, the dowel makes it makes a hole in the center.
Oh, okay.
It brings it around completely.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So
But
you
I
can
like
have
to
sort
do
of
this.
different
This is
styles.
faster.
I'm gonna try each way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Kelly says she's great and she's happy to be seeing this famous recipe. Thank you. I'm excited too. I'm learning a lot.
Well,
I don't think I did that very well. Oh
I
boy.
do think the addition of
Oh, it's not bad.
the nutmeg and the little bit of cheese
Yeah,
makes a big difference.
gives it more flavor.
Because as I said, most people don't use that in their gnocchi when you're
Yeah.
making the dough.
Right.
That's it. Now you just cut.
Let's do a bunch more. We're gonna cook enough for the two of us. This one, I don't know. What did I do? Excuse me.
It's
I didn't make that. Okay.
It's got
It rolled all the way around. I think I started up
This
too
is not
high.
this is not high art.
It's not high art, yeah. What do I usually say? It's an art, not a science. It's not a science. Yeah. All right. So let me try. I'm gonna cut this roll.
Not too long. Now, just
Do you cut the end off first?
Oh, you don't have to. Just
All right.
like a half an inch to 3/4 at the most. Yeah, that's good.
Is that good? Okay.
And once you
I
do
think
this,
you can get faster
especially if you
at this,
make a
right?
long rope,
Yeah.
you can get through it very quickly.
Right. It's not hard.
No, it's not hard.
It's just
Just have to do it.
knowing how. Okay, and then I'm gonna do it on the fork. So at the top, push. I kind of cheated. All right.
Good.
Not terrible. Okay. Push.
Just roll it.
Just roll
It's
it.
a little bit more of a roll. And strain it to add some. Yeah, you got more
Okay,
like that.
so one end kind of curls around your finger a little
Exactly.
bit. Okay, I feel awkward. Like I don't know what I'm doing weird.
Use it
All right.
a little bit longer, but that's right this way.
Oh yeah.
Try it this way.
Oh,
And it comes off.
you're also pushing harder than I am. So
Yeah,
yours
you
have
have to
more
pull a little
ridges.
bit.
Okay, we'll push a little bit so it goes into the
You're pushing
fork
down
a little
so
bit.
it rolls over.
and then yeah,
It's not
mine
good.
aren't as ridged.
Just roll it down and flop it over.
Okay. Let me turn up this burner so our hot water heats up. Oh, it's coming up. All right. I'll do a few more. Emily Parker says hello.
Hello.
Good to see you, Emily. I'm glad you're here. All right, I'm getting better. Let's do a few more because I want to try it on here too.
Yeah, I'm not used to that gnocchi board.
Yeah. So the gnocchi board has the ridges are much closer together
Yeah.
than on the fork, but this looks nice. All right, here's an up close of what we've done so far. You can actually see the ridges on the camera. It's good. Yeah. Exactly. Vadim says no pressure, no one's watching.
No.
No pressure.
Who's
I know.
feeling any pressure?
I was like, what am I doing? So I'm going to put these into the floured tray the way you would, right? And let them rest for a minute while we keep going. And we'll cook up the first ones first, so they've had a second. Get those out of your way and let the maestro do the work now.
Yeah, right.
All right,
Thank you.
go to it.
Thank you. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah, like out of my way.
Let's see this work. Cut me a piece of what's that knife?
Is
Do a little bit of the color.
this it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it one more.
I'm covered in flour. I was covered in flour before we even started. Oh, David P says to tell the Gnocchi story. He said he wasn't going to tell it.
You know, P, I will.
We have two stories. We have two family
No,
stories
we
about
don't.
gnocchi. Yes, we do.
I think Ray Signori, my friend, might know this one. When I was in medical school, we got to be friends with some people. What's the thing called? And as a kid, I had eaten gnocchi my whole life, but I had never seen it written. So we went out to a restaurant one night, and my buddy said, well, why don't you tell us some of the things you like? I'm looking at the menu, and I see all the pastas I like, and Parmesan, and whatever, all of them. But I got to this one, I didn't recognize what it was. So I brought the waiter over, and I said, what is this? And he says, gnocchi. I said, gnocchi? This is gnocchi? Because it looks like gnocchi.
Gnocchi. It does
Well,
look like
they
gnocchi.
didn't ask me for any more recommendations. Okay.
You lost your Italian card.
That's it. I have the card in my box.
And the other story, let's preface this.
What?
Let's preface this. My parents met on a blind date. It was love at first sight.
What?
They've been together 51 years. But one time,
I don't even know where you're going. Go ahead.
as you know, they were married already.
Oh.
And my dad ordered a plate of gnocchi, and my mom said, I've never had gnocchi. Can I try one? And you said...
It was, I said, wait a minute. First of all, I redeemed myself. I said no.
He said no.
And I meant no. And the reason is my wife is a beautiful, lovely lady, but she's Armenian and she doesn't know anything about gnocchi. And I figured she wouldn't enjoy it. It's like, as I said, thank God we were married.
You did say, I'll order you your own plate.
I offered. I did offer. Very
but
generous.
No, you can't have. I'll order you your own, but you cannot have any of mine. And that story has lived on.
I've never done anything that silly again in my life ever.
It's, I guess, a testament to how much you love gnocchi.
That's right.
and
so
and how much you love mom, because you offered her her own plate.
I did?
Yes. You
I thought that was very generous.
It was. All right, we have a few more. So we're bringing water up to a boil to cook the ones we've made. And I'll start the sauce too, I think. We're going to make a brown butter sage sauce, which is fairly simple. So let me just show you what I'm doing. I do like a sauce, like a light sauce like this on it. You can also do a tomato sauce, right?
You can do, absolutely.
You can do really anything.
Tomato sauce, there's a very good one with a pesto made with
that sounds good.
with sun-dried tomatoes
Oh.
and garlic, and it's delicious with this. So it's a red pesto sauce.
A red pesto.
Yeah, you can find that online with no trouble.
Okay. That sounds great.
We're used to having it with just, red, like a marinara sauce.
Right, that's the easiest
That
way.
was the way we
So
always
if you're
had it.
making it for dinner for your family, everyone's laughing at our stories. Oh, I have to scroll all the way back up. This is a damning story, David said. We tell the story, but we say, how could you? How could you? And Kelly Schwiedering is here.
Oh, hi Kelly, how are you?
And everyone's laughing at the story. So Kelly, Fran, Teresa, Redeem.
You didn't tell me about all this.
No, I didn't.
It's not fair to keep secrets from your father.
Video, it's no big deal.
I just wish we could talk back and forth.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Right. Well, the first time I did it, I forgot that I wouldn't be able to hear everyone. It was like, oh, this is weird. I just hear myself. Kelly Schwiedering says, hi, Dr. P.
Hi, sweetie.
Cal.
I'm not doing
These
this.
look good. See, yours are like perfectly smooth.
What?
That looks great. I'm zooming in on your.
I've done it a few times.
You have.
Well, you haven't. There you go.
That looks nice.
I'll just
So for anyone who came a little bit later, oh, here we go.
No, here you.
Well, I'll do it. Okay. So anyone who came a little later, let me hold this up. The inside of this larger piece that we're cutting and rolling has like an airy texture to it, so we didn't overwork that. And the goal is to have a light gnocchi, not, oh, that's boiling, okay, not a heavy gnocchi in the end. All right, so I'm cutting this. I have to do it this way so you can see how far you're going. Okay. Last time they were too big. Is that better? They're almost like square.
Yeah, almost
It's
square, exactly.
Okay. Oops, that last piece.
So if
is
you
bigger.
make the rope a certain amount, then cut it like that. Square.
Okay. I'm gonna try the board. This one's bigger. All right. Can you re-roll the ends and stuff, or no?
What do you mean? You don't
Like
have
these little pieces. What do you do?
Oh, I
Just-
shouldn't even cut those
just,
off. I should just use them. I would normally use those.
Okay. So the board is making kind of nice little ridges.
Yeah, there you go.
That's nice. Okay.
It's a very popular
Turning it
pasta. It's
over
not
with
hard to
my
make,
thumb.
as you see. It's really not hard to make.
Yeah.
But you
And you
have,
don't need this board, but you
the
want.
secret is that dough cannot be wet and it can't be dry. It
Hmm.
has to be just barely tacky.
It is nice. It's like pliable.
Yeah, it's very
It's
pliable.
not
It's almost like
firm.
Play-Doh.
Let's turn this down.
It's
Yeah, it is
soft.
like it is. It's true. It's like a new can of Play-Doh when it's very
Right.
still very soft. That's a great. It's true.
And by the way, cooking, it has to be done on a very low boil.
Yeah, that's boiling
Because
too
it
much right
destroys
now.
these things if you get too rough with them.
That's going crazy, so I'm lowering it to so they won't be going like this and then fall apart. Especially because they're not sitting very long. I think the longer they sit, the more they would stay together. Okay, so our butter's melting for our sage sauce. I'm basically just taking a stick of butter. I'm going to cut up some garlic and some sage and throw it in there.
Does Ray, you have any suggestions?
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, we're open to
I'm
suggestions
open to
from
any
anyone
suggestion.
who's
I'm
here.
dying here.
I'm dying. Okay, let me get out a small cutting board.
Did you tell me that?
I only put it on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Oh, next time we're going to tell more people
Oh,
too.
no,
This
we're
is
not.
our. Vadim says next time you can do a Zoom. Oh, that's true. Then the people would be able to see the other people.
That could be fun.
That's a good idea. A whole different platform to learn. This has been. We got it tonight. Knock on wood. Technology-wise. All right. So I'm putting. What do you think? 1 clove of garlic.
Yeah.
One? Okay, just like a mild amount of garlic is going into our melting butter.
Yeah, it's not a high garlic type
No,
deal.
it's like a more delicate
Right.
dish, right?
Exactly.
You want the flavor of the gnocchi.
I mean, I love
To
garlic,
shine
but
through.
not too much in this one.
Yeah. Okay, I'll mince the garlic.
I can't believe I'm saying that.
I know, right? I know, we always put a lot of garlic in everything, but yeah, you don't want this to be overpowering. Mia has a request.
Yes.
First, we have a few requests. Jen Johan says, come back next week. This is so much fun. It is so much fun. What a difference it makes to have my dad here. You know, not standing here. I love chatting with you all. Like, it's just the energy is different.
Homemade
So
pasta
great.
next week.
Ooh, okay.
Easy.
Every week you have a new job.
When I get to our homemade family ravioli, then
Oh,
we'll be there.
And Mia said, come back and make your tarte tatin.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Tarte tatin is my dad's specialty. So this is the thing about my dad. Like, I like to throw stuff in the pan, the pot, like experiment. You are so exacting. Like when he makes a tarte tatin, this is years worth of perfection.
Which one is the baker?
That's going on. Charlotte is the baker.
Charlotte. Correct me if I'm wrong, Charlotte. If you vary too much on things like a tart, which can be wet,
Oh.
it's a disaster. And that's the reason I follow the rules. I've learned over the years how long to cook it, how thick the apple should be, when to let it sit. A lot of people turn them over right away. And they're too wet.
Yeah, you should see this tarte
Absorbs the
tatin.
juice
It's
if you just
beautiful.
let it sit. And then you just reheat the caramel on the bottom. And as soon as you hear a little boiling sound, flip it right out. It's not running all over the place.
It
So
sounds
that's
great.
the
The
little
tarte
secret.
tatin, to anyone who doesn't know, that you cook the apples until the sugar and the forms the caramel, and then the pastry goes on top until it's all absorbed, and you ultimately flip it over. It is a wonderful,
It's a great dessert.
delicious
It's a nice dessert.
specialty of the Normandy region of France. So we will do that.
Yeah, I love to make.
So, my friend Tim says, this is adorable, and I want to be in the audience to eat this masterpiece. I know. Well, eventually we're going to figure out how to have people here, and in the meantime, you'll have to take our word for how good it is. Okay. And Charlotte's, Vadim says, wow, about the tarte tatin. Do you want to get a spatula out of that drawer to stir that? The garlic is starting to brown a little bit.
Which one here?
No, on your right there.
Here?
Yep. Yeah. All right, we're going to stir our garlic. You can take that off the heat, actually. And Charlotte says that is correct. If you want to be a success every time, you have to be exact.
She's exactly.
It's a fabulous bakery.
Charlotte, I learned it the hard way, but I've learned it.
Yeah. This is about a 1/4 cup of chopped sage going in.
Good. Right now it's time
Charlotte, while we're on here and your name is right there, Charlotte has a bakery in Ridgewood called Charlie Fee Bakery, Charlie F.I. Bakery.
wonderful.
Yeah, and they make wonderful things, and she will eventually be on here with me as well.
You want to put those in?
And Mia says, wait, I get to be here for the tarte tatin. That's true, you did request it. And we're going to do your duck fat fries. I have not forgotten you.
And I'll tap the flour off of the.
Okay, oh yeah, we're off.
good.
We're off. We have to get these into the water.
Yeah.
So let's do the ones that we made first. Our water, here's our
Water has to come back up. a little
sauce. We want the butter to brown slightly, right? The water's coming back up. It was really boiling too much. So now,
bit. Get it up.
yeah, we might have to. It's this electric burner. There's not a lot of in between. Do you think we need to wait?
We should wait a second. You want to see a little just get in there.
Okay. It's just starting to move. And this looks delicious. That smells good. It probably needs a little salt.
You don't want to make it too brown,
And
so
then,
be careful.
yeah, the garlic's browning. All right.
Let's see.
Oh, we have so many great comments. Thank you all. Lou Dickinson says, a star is born. I agree.
Jeez.
Charlotte says we all learn the hard way. That's also true. And Ray says it smells wonderful all the way from Colorado. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
It
Thank you,
smells
Charlotte.
wonderful here. I will tell you that. All right, I see small bubbles forming.
We don't want to, as I said, we want to cook them quickly. Can I turn it up even more?
Yeah. Oh, so we want, the goal is to
The
cook
goal
them.
is to have a low, gentle boil. Put those in. They'll go to the bottom.
Okay.
Then you have to just gently move them so they don't stick to the bottom. And as they start to come up, now this is a debatable thing. A lot of people take them out immediately. They say they're
as soon
done.
as they float, they come
I don't
out.
think they're done. I think the flour has a little more cooking to do.
Okay.
So I'll let them cook on the surface for no more than 2 minutes, max. I even set the timer.
Okay.
Because if you do that, they're going to be just mush.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But you also don't want them undercooked.
Right. So there's like a sweet spot.
Yeah, it's an interesting pasta because it's not hard to make. It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of steps that will kill it.
Right.
Flour will kill it. Overboiling it will kill it. Stuff like that.
Okay. So I'm gonna I'll watch this again and write these in the description. Like, what are the key things? Not working it too much. The temperature.
Right.
It looks like it's simmering, right?
All right, go ahead.
Is it good? I don't want to be over anxious. Yeah. The bottom has the bubbles on it right now.
Yeah, you gotta give it 1 more second because I'm gonna. Well, if you leave the heat on high, it comes up. We can turn
to
it
a
down.
roll
Go ahead.
boil quickly.
We can take those out and put a few more in.
That's true. If we mess it up, we have more. So these are going in. It's just starting to simmer, and I'm doing this very gently, especially because these are. That's going to start boiling in a second.
Oh, that's all right. Then we'll turn it down.
Okay, because these are freshly made. We don't want them to fall apart. And I'm going to just take some whole sage leaves and throw them in that butter too, so we can garnish with them. I think one time we made fried sage. That was really good to garnish.
Yeah.
You just throw a whole sage leaf into hot oil and it becomes crisp and you put it on top. But you don't really want to eat these soft sage leaves like this.
And the other thing about these, when you freeze them, they even get a little more tenacious. They stay together better.
Okay, so once, if you make them
Just
ahead.
throw them in frozen. Don't have to do anything.
Oh, throw them in frozen.
Frozen. Put them. Just drop them right in. They
And
act
how
the
much
same way.
long? They'll come up as quickly and
Well,
everything?
they'll come up the same way.
All right, so we're just
Because they're not
sauteing.
that thick. It doesn't take that much to thaw them. They
Oh,
thaw
yeah.
almost immediately.
Okay, so we're sauteing these whole sage leaves to use as a garnish. And this, do I stir it at all?
We'll stir it gently.
Gently.
Yeah, very gently.
Prod these
Off
to
the
see.
bottom. Just go through the
Okay,
bottom.
just to make sure they don't stick to the
Perfect.
bottom.
That's perfect.
All right, good.
We're almost
We
there.
only made a few.
I wish you were all here to share
I
this with
know,
us.
that would be so nice. Now, how many? I mean, that's a pretty small pot of water, but how many could you do at once?
I use a regular pot
Okay, and you would
that
do
you would
all
use
of
for a
these?
pound of pasta.
Yeah, like the big tall one.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I put it straight in, no strainer or anything.
Yeah.
Just drop them in, gentle stir, turn that boil down, let them come up, wait a minute or two, take them out, done.
Okay, so you could do this whole batch at once.
Oh,
or like,
I could do.
yeah, more than that.
I could do this whole tray filled up, one next to each other, no problem at once.
Oh, okay. So I hope that was clear. So we made about half a tray worth of gnocchi, and we only put a few in the water. But you could do a whole tray at once in the water gently, with a bigger pot. We just used a pretty small pot. So we have some comments. Regina says, "What a beautiful memory," which I agree. This is a nice thing to be doing together. Love you.
Love you.
Mwah. And Suda is here.
Oh,
Suda.
oh.
Suda says this
Hi
is
there.
wonderful. But
How's
she
the
has
baby?
to go. She
The
said she has
babies?
to go. Maybe she's still here. But she wanted to say hi, Dr. P, and hope to catch more live shows soon.
That's very
That's
nice.
nice. We're glad you're here, Suda.
I didn't know this was going to become an act.
I know, right? You didn't know. I tricked you into a new weekly routine.
See,
All
they're
right, so
starting
these
to
are
come up.
floating.
So set the time. Tell her to.
Okay,
Whatever
so
you think.
Echo, set a timer for 2 minutes.
Nice and gentle.
All right, so we have 2 minutes left. We could keep rolling these, or we could clean up our
Who's we?
space. You're gonna do it?
No,
I'm
you-
gonna do it? Oh, I'm still a
As Charlotte
student
says,
here.
practice
and
makes
practice
perfect.
makes perfect, exactly. All right, I'll do one more row, and then we'll clear up and plate them. So if anyone has questions along the way, requests, we've already had a few requests, let me know.
Well, I do suggest you try it. They're delicious. They're not
Yeah.
hard to make.
And we talk a lot about like having something that you can keep in your freezer
These are perfect.
and serve your
I'm telling you, I
family.
had them in there once. Once you put them in, especially if you freeze them in a vacuum bag,
A vacuum bag,
they'll stay forever.
Freeze them first and then
Freeze them
put them in
first,
so they don't smush in the vacuum bag, and then that's true.
What is it called?
Here we go. Okay, do you need something to put them into? Here's another bowl. All right, I'm just rolling a few more, and then we're
Well, I
ready.
think these should go right in the dish with the sauce.
Oh, right into there?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Suda says we're superstars. Thank you, Suda. It's so much fun. It's just a great fun thing to do. This is also a good one to do with kids.
Oh,
Right?
for sure.
I mean, talk about
Oh,
Play-Doh and how much fun this is to
they
do.
don't have to be so fussy when you're with kids. You know,
Yeah.
the roll doesn't have to be perfect, and if the length is too long, who cares?
Right, true. It
They'll
doesn't
have a
have to
ball.
be
Yeah.
perfect. And they're all different. Each one we're making is different from the next, which I think is part of the charm, really.
See, look at the size you cut them. Look how big they got.
Oh yeah. Oh, they grew.
So if you made them big,
Mm-hmm.
they end up being like baseballs. I mean,
Right. Oh yeah, they did grow significantly. They were. Can I hold this over the pan? Oh, that's our timer. Echo. Stop. I'm gonna hold this one over to show the comparison, how much they grew. Yeah, like a third more
I'm
again.
gonna put them in here.
All right, so they're going into the sauce. We don't need this. Oh, Suda says Dora, her daughter, loves pasta and she's definitely going to try it. That's terrific. That is great. I hope she loves that, and let me know.
I'll put this over
I'd
here.
love to see a picture. That's wonderful.
Where's that red spatula?
Right here.
Just move it down a little bit.
All right, I'm going to, we have this much more. This made so much dough. I feel like this would definitely feed
Oh,
more than four. Well,
if you
for a
get-
meal.
You get a couple of healthy young eaters,
Yeah.
you know.
We eat a lot of
But
pasta.
that roll will definitely feed 4.
Yeah, that's okay. So this amount is for 4 people. We made about half of it, so I have this whole tray still that we could boil up or freeze, and we're going to make 1 plate worth right now. So let's clear the way. How's that look? Oh, they look nice. They have a little bit of brown on them.
Just a little
Turn
bit.
it up. Okay,
Yeah, they're fine.
they look great.
And they held their shape without sitting as long as that makes them sit.
Yeah,
I was
that's
concerned
good.
about that.
That was the thing we weren't sure
Yeah.
about, but they look great. All right. So now we know you can make them and cook them right away, or you can let them rest. And you can let them rest how long on the counter? You don't have to. If you're making them like for dinner in the morning, could they sit out? Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
if it's that long, after a while, you might want to just put a piece of wax paper over it.
Okay.
If you can let them sit out all day.
So it's like
Now, if it's 90 degrees in the house, you might not want to do that.
right.
But a normal
couple
day,
hours.
yeah.
Great. Okay. Oh, I can't wait to try it.
There you
Can't
go.
wait. All right, this looks beautiful. Let me show it in the pan. Look how gorgeous.
Can I see it in the pan?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And
Give me a plate.
let me get. Here's a plate.
Is
Let me
yours?
get you a serve. Do we want 2 plates?
Well, we only have a few, right?
Yeah, we'll make 1 plate and we'll share it. Okay. Some of those are whole sage leaves that were for garnish, but they got kind of small and wilted. Let me turn this off. It goes from, that's the only thing about cooking with electric, it goes from 0 to a million, and it takes a while to come back down. Suda says she has ideas for the future. That's great. I would definitely love some requests. Kelly says she's going to try it too, and they like theirs with meat sauce. That sounds good too. Oh, this is beautiful.
That's it.
All right, that's it. This is absolutely gorgeous. Let me just get the, first of all, we're both going to look at the camera and smile. This is what we made. So look how beautiful it looks on the plate.
Great.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Let's do that.
David, too bad you're not here.
Oh, David, we'll make it again. Don't worry. And let's try it. I have 2 forks here.
Go ahead. Go
Me first? Thank you. I always put it in my mouth and then I'm like, oh, it's so hot. All right.
Should be light, fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Easy.
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi. That is delicious. It is light and fluffy.
Yeah.
It has, it doesn't have a lot of bite to it, like a lot of chewiness. It's very light. Oh wait, no, Parmesan cheese? I think we used it all. Let me get some more.
You should put a little bit on it. It enhances the Parmesan that's already in it.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's just a little bit, not a lot. Just a drizzle. Light. Perfect.
Like that? Okay,
And
just to
now
make it really pretty. There we go.
I bet you it tastes different.
Okay. I'm just going to keep eating. These are absolutely gorgeous. The brown butter is pretty on that one, so is the sage.
Yeah. It picks up the flavor from the gnocchi. The cheese you have in the gnocchi.
That is so good. It is. It's light and fluffy, and it holds together just enough, and the sauce is delicious.
Pat me on the back. I do it myself.
You get all the pats on the back. That was
That's it.
fantastic. All right. Wow. That
It
was
doesn't
really
take.
fun.
I know it's the reason it looks more complicated and like, do I really want to do that? It's because we're stretching it out just to show you what you do. But you boil 3 or 4 potatoes, or not boil, but steam. By the time you peel them when they're hot, and rice them and they cool, that's the longest period. You can roll them and mark them in no time. And as you saw, they cook in minutes.
That was the more time
You
consuming.
can
That's
have a
not really
full
that time
meal
consuming.
in a very short amount of time. It's better
So
than you
good.
can buy in a bag.
For sure. Better than you can get at a restaurant,
I don't know about that.
I'd say. So we have a few comments. Ray says, buon appetito. Pamela says, sweet. Charlotte said, yay, wish we could share it. Kelly says,
I do too.
yum. David P made a horrified face. Why aren't I there? I'm sorry. Ray says, where is the vino? Teresa
Oh,
says,
absolutely.
oh yeah, a little vino. What do you think? White wine?
With
A little
this?
white wine with this? Yeah.
You know, I'm ambivalent on that. I know that you're supposed to weigh with lemon, but if you like the wine, it's not overpowering.
Right.
It'll taste just as good with this as a white wine will.
Yeah. It's delicious.
I mean, I wouldn't drink a Tuscan red with this.
Right, but it has some richness to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Interesting. Okay. What else? Teresa says, you guys are wonderful, a dynamic duo. What a fun night. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Vadim. Thank you, Pam. Thank you all for being here. So this
Thank
was
you.
absolutely wonderful.
Love you all.
We love you all. Again, I am Coco Huff, COCOHOUGH. We are doing this I am doing it now. You're going to be here hopefully as much as we can every week from now on. No.
Easy.
It's going to be a special treat, certainly once in a while, with Sam Pietrandrea, Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much.
We're done?
We're done.
Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.